press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Hello,
The
everyone.
broadcast is now starting. All attendees are
Salim
in
Omar
listen-only
here.
mode.
The introductory comments from GoToWebinar are very long. When I hit the Start Broadcast button, it's got to do its thing, which is like 20 seconds. Big welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining in. If you can hear me, see me, and you can see a screen that says CPA Practice Accelerator program, just kind of give me a thumbs up of some kind. That is going to be great. It's about mid-afternoon here, 1 p.m., right? I saw Mel's thumbs up and I said 1 up, so it's about 1 p.m. Just had lunch. And I'm ready to dive in. And so far, I hope you guys can all hear me because I only see Melvin sharing something. Cool. Oh, super. Great. Hello, Ron and Greg. Awesome. Cool. Beautiful. That's good enough indication that you guys can, we're on the same page with that. So today we're going to dive into building a championship team. And, the genius model, and really, putting that aside for a moment, if you don't have a team in place, it all ends up with you doing the work. You can't scale your practice. So it's really an important aspect of creating a successful practice is a team of people that get it, is a team of people that are on the same page and that help you take your practice to the next level, which is creating your big, hairy, audacious goal and getting you to your three-year mark, your strategic objectives. So that's kind of the topic for the day. And here's the genius model, right? The 3 areas of attention: client attraction, championship team, and streamline operation. Depending on when you've joined the program, we have covered some of the green check marks. And if you're relatively new to the program, we're going to kind of do a full cycle and cover the stuff that you haven't covered. So we've talked about fees, which was last week. The couple of weeks prior to that, it was systems, how to get systems in place so that everything is not overly dependent on you or any one person. We talked about 5-star service through creating a performance standard, a one-pager that shares what your deliverables are and what the timelines are, and really getting it out there on a piece of paper, on a one-pager, so you can share with your team and say, all right, this is what we're going to strive to do. This is what we want to deliver. So let's, so everyone's on the same page with that. And then last week and the week prior was goals, right? So that's under championship team, we talked about goals. And by the way, if you've missed any of these sessions, we've got the recorded version available for you. So please do get that. And then the training guides are accessible and available to you as well. So be sure to tap into that. Today is going to be smart hiring and creating a winning culture. So those are the 2 practice accelerators that we're gonna dive in further today. So my journey in the world of team building a championship team has been, lots of lessons learned and continue to learn. It's definitely one of the big challenges in an accounting practice or in a small business is getting that right team in place. And part of building a right team is the leader. There's leadership skills needed from the person at the top, which is you and I. So that's been quite a bit of big learning for me in delving into becoming a better leader, a more effective leader. And and it's a two-way thing. You can hire great people and you can have all the hiring stuff in place, and then people will slowly disengage themselves and not feel part of a team. and that's going to be, depending on how, on the culture we create in the practice, so that they always, they feel that they are part of the team, and it's a culture that gets the best out of them. It's a culture that helps, that makes them want to give their best, right? So that's kind of, the stuff that that we'll be addressing. It is what that is, what that looks like, and I'll share with you, stuff that's gone on in my life, in my practice, and the mistakes I've made, costly mistakes I've made that can help, you can overcome. So when I started my practice, my goodness, I had a revolving door with lots of people coming in and lots of people leaving my firm. And that was kind of what I saw the first 5, 6, 7 years, a lot of instability from that. And the practice is going to be unstable. It's not going to be stable when you do have such a turnover with people, number one. And then the people that do stay a little bit, they're not as engaged. And like the person you're seeing right there in front of you on the screen is that disengagement in a big way. But I tell you, it happens quite a bit. Is the distractions, right? These days, especially the cell phone and the social stuff, and we do lose. There's a lot of focus that's lost when somebody is trying to hold conversations with so many other people while they're at work. So they're doing their work, but there's conversations going on with multiple people, and dinners being planned for the weekend and vacations being planned. And I mean, you and I know that you don't get the best when that's happening, so that stuff that's got to be minimized, when it comes to that kind of, the conversations, the social media aspect of stuff. So been through all that with a revolving door with employees, and found a few things that, and if that's where it's at you, it's always going to be you. If you don't get the team stuff in place, it's always going to fall back on you, and you're going to work long and hard. It's going to be stressful. You want to enjoy your practice, resulting in unhappy clients and then low profits. And on the other hand, you take care of your team, where it's high accountability and performance. You work as much as you want to work in the practice, and the practice continues to work with an amazing team of people. And you've got raving clients, right? The business is not dependent on you. The team is there to handle most of the day-to-day stuff, the hour-to-hour stuff, and you've got your part in as the leader, the CEO, and doing the high-end technical work, right? You've heard me share this before. The 3 things that you want to be doing is, number one, high-end technical work. So that's 30% of your time, up to 30% of your time. Second is client nurturing, sales and marketing, all that fitting in one bucket. The second bucket, right, client nurturing, sales and marketing, and that's 60%. And then the third is team development, and that's 10%, right? So 30, 60, 10. And this is what you want to be aspiring to and working your way towards that. You want to be working your way towards that. And it's exactly what I'm saying. I'm just going to put my phone on DND, do not disturb. You're going to be working towards that. You may not be there yet, and that's fine, which means just make sure that whatever you're doing, you're documenting it so you can hand it off to someone, right? So you're not married to the work you're doing now indefinitely, right? The sooner you can document it and get out of it, the better it is, right? And I know sometimes, with the situation and so forth, the economics don't allow to hire someone next week or the week after, and I understand that, right? But kind of know that, that, and we'll talk about what your hiring plan is and should be. But that's the goal, right? Focus on documenting stuff so that you can then step out of doing the technical work and doing more of the client nurturing and sales and marketing and growing the practice, right? I mean, where most of the folks, that I'm talking to, you're in a place where you want to grow your practice, and to grow it, you gotta be doing it, right? You gotta be involved in activities that are growing it, and client nurturing, talking to clients you'll bring opportunity, we will open up opportunities. Talking to prospects, being in places where prospects are hanging out. These are all things that you want to be channeling your attention and your energy, because that's how business is going to happen. It's like not rocket science. I mean, we're likable people. People trust us when they meet us. That's kind of how we are as individuals. Accountants are amazing people. And people like us, they trust us. And after they see us for 2-3 times, they're like, all right. Or something happens in their business and they're working with another accountant and they're like, hey, maybe, we should talk about it. And they become a client, right? So in order to do that, you got to be seeding, you got to be in those places, right? And you can't be in those places, in those situations, if we are so focused on doing the work, right? So I'm a big proponent, from my own experiences and from studying successful entrepreneurs, that the way to scale it is to get out of the day-to-day grind. Grind is a negative word, but to get out of the day-to-day stuff, right? The hour-to-hour stuff. All right. So any questions, thoughts before we dive in? What's resonated with you from things that I've shared so far? So I'm going to bring this conversation to you. What's resonated with you from what I've shared so far? Give you guys 20-30 seconds to type in your answers. What did you connect with from what I shared the last 10 minutes or so? I was babbling. When it comes to building a team, leadership, the importance of a team, why you need to get out of the day-to-day stuff, the way to allocate your time, thoughts along those lines. So Greg's saying finding the right time to hire is going to be the biggest struggle. Finding the right time. I'm trying to understand what you're saying there. Finding the right time, like when to hire, right, Greg? Like when to make your first hire is going to be the biggest struggle. In what way? In what way is that going to be the biggest struggle, is when to hire? Ron saying, I'm confused. I thought this started last week. And then it says, yet, I'm already 3 weeks behind. No, not a thing at all, Ron. So this is, it started a few weeks before, and it's so whatever you've missed, we're going to cover it. You started off with whatever you started off with. I just have been in this journey a few weeks prior to that. And so they'll be finishing off, and then we'll continue the journey, those that just started with me. So that's how it is. So Greg is saying the right time to hire the first employee. At what revenue, I guess, at what revenue point can I afford to bring on a full-time employee? Good. That's a great question. At what revenue point can I afford to bring on a full-time employee? So when your plate's full, right? When your plate gets so full, where you can chunk out work from your plate and create a plate for someone else, is when you would, right? You would, you would make that first hire. So if you've got, on your plate right now, let's just say hypothetically, is a couple 100K in revenues. Just throwing a number from thin air, 200K in revenues, and you're like now getting busy, right? You're getting busy with, doing 200K, but you still want to do the sales and marketing and the client nurturing, and you're not getting as much time to do that. So 200K, let's give 100K or 75K, 100K, create a plate for a job description for this person to do. And you continue the sales and marketing, the client nurturing, and bringing in revenues. And so that's the opportunity cost, right? It's costing you not bringing that revenues because you're so busy with servicing the clients that you have. And so that's the way I'd look at it. 200K, let's slice it, get 75K, 100K off that, give it to a person who you're gonna pay 40, 50K, whatever, depending on their qualifications and all that, of course, maybe 75K, depending again on the qualifications, and get that away from you. And now you've got the opportunity, the ability to channel your time and attention to bringing in that new work, which is going to be another 50, 75, 100K in new work in 3 to 6 months or so, right? Chakra is saying, for me, hard part is to allocate time between competing priorities. So it is a continuous. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that was another comment. Yeah, it is a continuous course. So the right Chakra is saying, for me, hard part is to allocate the time between competing priorities. Yeah, and I think we all get into that situation. Is there so much, right, to do, and we've got to prioritize. And breaking through that and becoming aware of that and becoming dissatisfied, intolerant to doing things that you shouldn't be doing. That's the way to break out of that's the way to getting your practice to a higher level, is to be doing the stuff you need to be doing, right? So it's going to be, it is prioritizing things. It is prioritizing things for sure. And, something from a personal end that I've observed, I've traveled quite a bit this last few weeks, and I'm heading to San Diego this afternoon. And I'll be away from my office. I've been away for like 2 weeks. I was here for a few days. I'm away for another week, 7 days from my office. And sometimes when I come, I've got like quite a bit of stuff to do. I've got CPA Marketing Genius. I've got Straight Talk CPA as my firm here. And, so what I did this week is come in a little earlier. I just had lots of catch up to do. I had a few days in the office. I'm like, all right, let's just kind of stay focused, prioritize, and get stuff done. So I'd be here at 7:45, and I'd get an hour and a half or so, very focused time. And I feel very much caught up from doing that and servicing coaching members and running the accounting practice as well, and still then leaving for San Diego for about a week. So, that plays into it as well. And I'd encourage all of you guys, right? Sometimes you just got to kind of hunker down and do it, man, right? And if it means getting up early, it is. As an entrepreneur, sometimes we got to do that, knowing that we just don't want to do that indefinitely. The problem is when people start doing that indefinitely, that becomes their life. We don't want that, right? We want to be aware and conscious that, hey, I got to create systems so that I don't do this for years and years. I'm going to do this now because I need to. There's work that needs to get done. I'm just going to come an hour early, stay, and keep focused and do what I need to do with minimum distractions. And get caught up during those times, those days, those weeks when things seem to be all coming at you in more than one way, right? Hope that was helpful. Cool. Brian, Greg, hopefully the questions I've answered for you was helpful. And when we talk about a hiring plan, I want you to get that clarity of who your next hire should be. So we'll come to that as well, and there's going to be more there. Super. All right. Let's move on. All right. So winning culture, part of winning culture, two things that I want to cover: core values and then team meeting on a regular basis. So when it comes to core values, even if you're by yourself, I want you to, this is going to be important, is to create core values for yourself. So what are core values? Anyone kind of share with me what are core values? Just a quick thing. What are core values? When I use the word core values, what do they mean to you? Take a few seconds and type that in. What do core values mean to you? What do those two words mean? Core values. What are core values? What's the definition of core values? And you can be Googling this stuff, okay? Just kidding. No. What does core values mean? I mean, what do you understand from it? Yeah, beautiful, Ron. You nailed it, man. Our beliefs are guiding principles. Greg, my personal performance standards is different. Performance standard is more along the lines of performance. How are you going to perform from a timeline standpoint? So I want you to kind of think of, from a timeline standpoint, from a delivery standpoint, what are your timelines and how are you communicating to them as well? So they are connected, but they are different as well, right? The performance standards are a one-pager thing that we covered a few weeks back. For those of you who haven't, we will be covering it together. So it's our beliefs, it's our guiding principles, it's how are we living? How are we living life? Yeah. What's our code of conduct? What's our code of living? Mel, you say life's purpose. Life's purpose is more like core purpose. Why does the business exist? Right? That's core purpose. What's the reason for the existence of the business? To make a difference for the businesses that we serve, or to make a difference in the communities that we do business in. Like, that's more along the lines of core purpose. And core values, and some examples coming here on the next slide, are this is how we're going to live in our business, right? So just some examples, you guys, I won't read them. You can see them for yourself. But these were randomly pulled from different companies, and it tells you something about who these people are, assuming they're going to live it, right? But this is like, it tells you, looking at it, that, man, if I walk into an organization that's open-minded, that first one there, and they follow through, their implementation kings, and they practice what we preach, they practice what they preach, and they're very ethical, and their personal belief about setting goals and the pride that they take in everything they touch, right? It gives you, as a reader, as somebody, as a client, as an employee who's considering working in this type of an organization, it gives you a certain sense of feeling, certain sense of clarity or vision of, man, this is who these people are. Again, assuming they live it, they're living it, right? And that's what the purpose of this core values is. It serves for the people that are in the organization to have a code of conduct. This is who we are, and this is how we live. It gives clients when they see this stuff, when they read it, it gives them an indication of the type of service provider that they are hiring, and it gives so it gives clients that, it gives employees that. So it serves, in multiple ways in living in the existence of that business, because that's kind of the values. This is what we are about, right? This is what we are about. We are open-minded, so you want to make sure that the organization, the people in it, say, all right, am I being open-minded if I'm part of this organization? If that's our core value, am I being open-minded about it? Do I follow through on the decisions I make as a team member in this organization? So each team member has a gauge, has a way of determining how much or how little are they living their core values. So I went through an exercise like 3 years back, 3.5, more like 4 years back now. Time flies like no one's business. So about 4 years back, I hired a facilitator to come and spend a few days with us, like just different, parts in it, so that, this was a mentor should come in and help us through this process, and to create core values. So, have a meeting with my team, and we went through a process of saying, all right, what's important to us as people, and she walked us through this, which I'll explain to you in just a moment. And we created our own core values, which has been just amazing, because now we know the set of rules to live by. So this is the process that we went through. And if you've got team members with you, this is what you want to do. If you're by yourself, I'm going to ask you and encourage you to go through this process and create your version 1.0, right? When you hire your first person, you hire your second person, you can revisit this with them, right? Core values are built as a team, right? If you've got a team, then you're doing it with a team. If you're by yourself, you're the team, you do this and get your version 1.0, because you're going to use this version 1.0 to hire people, right? You're going to use, like this morning, I interviewed a candidate for one of the positions in my firm. And, it was a conversation about core values. Like half the conversation was about core values, right? Asking questions that gave us visibility if this person is going to be, this person is going to fit into our culture or not, right? So questions being asked, yeah, sure, we ask questions on skills and technical abilities and all that, but imagine, about half the interview was on core values, if not more, right? Yeah, somebody can use QuickBooks and they're great at Excel and so forth, but that's one side of it. Are they going to be a good fit in the organization? And the fit comes from culturally, from a value standpoint. Are they going to fit? So here's the process to create your firm's core values, and that you would do either yourself or with your team. Step 1, pull your firm's beliefs. So identify 7 to 10 different headers, categories, and so write those down, what those are. And some examples are leadership, team develop, team, systems, community, clients, health of the business, right? Just kind of 8 to 10, 7 to 10, whatever, different categories, right? And then brainstorm and create your best version of a few words that describes your belief about that category. So for clients, what comes to your mind? And let's do this now. Let's say that all of us are part of a team. We just created a new entity, you, me, and everyone else on this training, and we want to create our our core values, and we are the organization. And when it comes to clients, what's your innermost belief when it comes to clients? So I want you to take a few seconds and type that in. When I say clients, what's your deep down belief about clients? What does that word mean to you? When we talk about clients, what does that mean to you? Who are clients to you? What does that mean, the word clients? A few more seconds, folks. When I say clients, what's your deep down belief? When it comes to clients? Okay, so a few more seconds, and then I'm going to share the responses that have come in, because then we're going to work off the responses that have come in. All right, so Ron says, go above and beyond expectations. Greg says, the lifeblood of our business. Melvin says, service and customer satisfaction is number one. Ron says, I can't type to save my life. Melvin says, clients are relationships. So Melvin, you've got your brain's on fire, you're thinking, and you're coming up with more iterations. I mean, that's fine, that's cool. Chakra says, someone who you're helping with their business get peace of mind. I mean, give peace of mind to the clients, right? So we came up with different things that mean words that mean different things to the group that's here. And what we would do is we would have a discussion. If we were creating core values for our organization, you, me, and the rest here, we would say, hey, Chakra, what does that mean? When you say peace of mind, what are you thinking? And Melvin, now you said clients and relationships. What does a client mean to you? And when you say relationships, what does that look like? And we'd have Melvin share. And we'd have Ron share the go beyond, above and beyond expectations. And Greg saying the lifeblood of our business. Now, when you say lifeblood, like what are you thinking? And we would have a very healthy discussion, the handful of us, about the things that we wrote. And from that is going to come a common set of words, a couple of liners that we're going to especially like, because we'll say, no, I don't like this word as much. No, let's not go there with that. These words are resonating. Like, yes, the discussion is going to be the collaboration, and we're going to create something that's going to be meaningful and something that's going to be, we're all connecting with, right, in this discussion. And we'll come up with a few words that describe clients. And that is the process that you're going through to create your firm's set of core values. And you may create 8 or 10 or 7, and this is your version 0.5. You write them down on a sheet of paper and you stick them in a visible place. And you let everyone kind of be looking at it as they're passing by, as they're thinking, and as they're walking and they're in their own life, they're like thinking about it. And you meet again in a few days and say, all right, guys, let's have a discussion. This thing, these are the core values. And from this second discussion, you create a version 1.0. And now you're at a place where you're like, after that discussion, feeling pretty good that you've nailed it. And that's something that you you create your version 1, you've got your version 1.0, that's hanging around in the conference room or in a visible place. And if it's just you, kind of keep it out there in a visible place so that you're seeing it. And most likely that's like 90% there. Yeah, you'll make some tweaks over the course of a few weeks and so forth. Just the other day, one of my core values is continuously sharpen the saw. And my office manager and myself, we were talking about it. I said, maybe we need to tweak this way. And so we're going to bring that up in our next meeting with the team. And we've had our core values for several years, right? But there could be a small tweak here and there, but you're pretty much there, right? You're pretty much there with having something that's going to serve you, right? And that is the process of creating your core values. So now, core values are core values, right? Like mission statements, they get tucked away and it's got limited value. It's got limited benefit if you do that. So we got to live it. The way to live it is through meeting on a regular basis and making this as part of our discussion, making this as part of the meeting agenda. Is how are we living our core values? How are we showing up? Are we living? Clients are the lifeblood of our business. How's that showing up? Hey, let's get some examples. If somebody, have we seen some examples or some stories of how we saw that in play? And your team, you'll start identifying the moments, the situations when either you or one of your team members lived a core value. And the more something that we pay more attention to, we mention it, we talk about it, the bigger it becomes, right? That's a principle of life. Things that we pay attention to, we talk about, those become bigger. Things that we want to minimize in our life, we start just putting them out of our head, right? So core values, those stories that come out from how somebody lived a core value, it gets people to start becoming very conscious about it and to start sharing this during meetings. So core values really comes out in the world through stories and through examples, right? Otherwise, they're words, they're empty words that just stay on paper, right? But when we talk about clients are the lifeblood of our business, like what does that mean? How would that show up? If a client requests this, would we do it? Wouldn't we do it? If they wanted this, if they call past this time, if they sent an email on a weekend, how do we do it? Where are we going to go above and beyond? How does that play out? Or how do we engage our clients? If they're the lifeblood of our business, how well are we engaging them? And what do we need to do to engage them even more? So it just brings up conversations and discussions about living in a different way than the words may mean. From that discussion, when we start discussing it, we start seeing things in a different way, the dynamics change of what's on paper once we start living it and once we start discussing it. And that's what this platform here is, living your core values through daily huddles, weekly meetings, monthly team meetings, trimester team meetings, and then meeting on a regular basis, right? So this is the core values that we created. We believe in treating each client like your most valued guest. So before, we had clients as the lifeblood of our business, and we felt it's more cliche. Again, us, that was just us in the discussions we had. And we started looking like, how do we want to treat clients? And this came out. These are the words that, we created that really mean a lot to us, treating each client like your most valued guest. And so if you were to walk into my business, I believe this is the conclusion you're going to make if you were a client, that I was treated like a guest, which means I was well taken care of, right? The way we treat people when they come to our home. We're very nice to them. We're super, super nice to people, and we want to make them comfortable. And we become even better listeners, when we are with them, and we allow them to share their stories and so forth, right? And so I think that's a conclusion you'd run into, because it is our core value. It is something. Our core values are on my wall in the conference room, and it's things that we talk about as a team. It's things we talk about, that how is this showing up, and so that's just an example of what core values are. So the other day, my office manager and myself, we were like wondering if we should tweak the seventh one, continuously sharpen the saw. So those are words that more so resonated with me than anyone else. Continuously sharpen the saw was coming from Dr. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And so he had been an influencer in my life. So I was very much in tune with this in my own being. I'm very much into personal development and studying, reading constantly, and that. I'm attending an event in San Diego, towards the end of this week after my 2-day intensive. So just my own, and the weekend. Yeah, totally, immersed in that. So it meant something to me, and we were wondering, man, I think we should bring this back to the team and say, does this resonate with everyone? Yeah, do those words resonate with everyone? And one of the example, the situation that had come that got us to think this way was a mistake was made, but there was nothing done to correct that mistake, and that mistake would happen again. Like there was no recognition on the part of the person to create a procedure or a checklist so that that oversight does not happen again. And we started wondering, man, we're not living this then. This continually sharpens the saw. We want it to be mistakes don't happen again. And so we started questioning and say, all right, this is over the head, continuously sharpen the saw. It's a great few words, but it's going this way possibly. And do we need a core value, something along the lines of we don't make mistakes the second time, right? Is that where we want to go, so that each and every person, like that's something that speaks more to us, right? We make mistakes only once. and wouldn't that be wonderful, right? If we just make mistakes once. We are going to make mistakes, but we make them once because we find a way to for it not to take place. So this is kind of just something from a personal side in my business just last few days on the surrounding core values, right? And that's kind of the things along those lines is what you're going to experience when you create your core values, because it's important, super important, that core values are lived, right? It doesn't become a theoretical exercise, because then you won't get the full benefit from it. Questions, things I can ask, I can share, please share, please be typing in that. Is this making sense? Any questions around creating your core values, your firm's core values? Why is teamwork, Chakra is asking, why is teamwork not part of the culture bullet? Which one was that? Chakra, which one are you referring to? Got a short-term memory. Teamwork makes the dream work. Why is teamwork not part of the culture bullet? Say more. What do you mean? I thought they were referring to teamwork here, but maybe not. Why? Teamwork makes the dream work. Number 3 is teamwork, and number 2 is culture. Okay. Why is teamwork not part of the culture bullet? Yeah, it could be. It could be. I've got seven core values. And the general rule is to have between like 5 and 7. And we have contemplated that, but we do like teamwork makes the dream work. And my goodness, the team is amazing. Like, they really work as a team here. And so that's resonated with us, that core value, the value, the need for teamwork and people helping each other and collaborating and that. And then a culture that's high performing, accountable, that's just been, and that core values worked for us as well, in that, just looking at a culture and a form of existence from each team member, that everyone's high performing and they're accountable and they are fun loving people, authentic and empowering. So that's things that have resonated with us. So is a team. But I hear you. I mean, it could be, doesn't have to be, what you're saying, that, you would think teamwork should be part of culture, but it's really having a discussion with the team and saying, all right, what speaks to us as people here? Because, the examples I showed you earlier, like the 3 examples, one of them was like one words, right? But those one words mean a lot to those people. And right here, where is it? When you need them here, right? So like the third one, pride, passion, trust, like this organization was just like one worders, right? That meant, this is words that resonated the most with them. So it's got to be something that's between 5 and 7. It cannot be too lengthy, too wordy. And so you're looking at a blend of something that you're seeing on the screen, something along those lines. Good stuff, man. Good questions. Love that. Thanks you for questioning that. All right, moving on. So are you guys up for creating your own firm's core values? And by the way, Phil, you should be the training guide that comes with each time we go through a webinar. Be sure to be pulling that out as well and using that as a way to work through this stuff. So I have it here in a binder, but yeah, be sure that you've got the training guide that you're using as a supplement to the webinar and in the group Q&A for next week. All right. So once you've got your core values, then what you can do is when you're hiring people, you can incorporate your core values there. And when you're analyzing the people that you currently have, you're using your core values with them as well, right? So the way you would do that is you would put the names of the people you have, and you'd write down the core values on the top, right? So the names of your team members right there on the left, and then the core values on the top. And then you would be putting a plus minus, or a minus for each of those core values. So let's say John Doe is the first team member you have, and you look at the first core value. How much is John Doe living that core value? Either he's living it all the time, which is a plus, or he's living it sometimes and sometimes he's not, which would be a plus minus. And it could be something that he's not living at all, and that's a minus, right? So you give John Doe, you'll have that across the row, either a plus minus, or a minus. And that tells you, hey, how much of a fit, how well is John fitting in your organization? So it gives you the best objective way to make it that evaluation. So this is a perfect, really great tool when you're looking to analyze the people that you have. All right, we talked about team meetings. there, and I just want to quickly walk you through what these are. So the daily huddles, I find them most useful for newer employees or people or team members that you have that are challenged with prioritizing. So you kind of start and have a quick daily huddle. Say, all right, let's get together as a team or one-on-one and say, well, what do you have up? What do you have going for the next 24 hours, right? And that's what the daily huddle is. It's 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes. Quick, what do you have going for the next 24 hours? Challenges, obstacles that you have, things that you're most proud of, what you accomplished yesterday. And so it's a quick meeting along those lines, either one-on-one or in a group setting. And then weekly meetings, 30 to 45 minutes, schedule it, no exceptions. There's a team person, a team leader who holds them. And, we have an accounting huddle meeting on the admin side. We have an admin team meeting. On the marketing side, we have a marketing team meeting. And so it's really for the week. What are the things we're accomplishing for the week? Challenges, obstacles, wins. So that's kind of, that's the format. And you can, incorporate core values in this conversation as well. And then weekly one-on-ones, right? Some of your key team members, you want to meet with them either weekly or every 2 weeks or monthly. So it's a one-on-one meeting with them. 30 minutes, 45 minutes is what you're doing on a one-on-one meeting. Leadership meetings is meeting with your management team, your leadership team on key issues. And if you're smaller, you're not there yet, so then that could be you. And then trimester meeting is meeting at the beginning of a trimester to review the previous trimester and to plan for the following trimester. Now, for those of you who've got business clients, how many of your business clients, what percentage do you think have core values in place? They've got a meeting rhythm in place. So kind of give me an indication, what percentage of your business clients has that in place? How many of your business clients are running their business with having goals? They've got core values, they're meeting with their team on a regular basis, and they've got an open communication platform. Take a few seconds and share your comment. If you have business clients, what's the percentage roughly? How many businesses do you think are doing this stuff? Some, but certainly not all of them. Responses were slower on this question. And that's true. Yeah, there's not that many of your clients that are doing this stuff. So the question comes about is, how can you impart some of this with them? How can you get this knowledge that you're learning? How do you not keep it a secret? How do you share it with the people that matter to you? How can you communicate this to them? Yeah, because I want you to be I want you to be thinking about that all right, this is cool stuff, I'm going to use it in my practice. Hey, can you help your clients with this knowledge? Are they struggling with this stuff and having everyone engaged and committed and on the same page and having a game plan of, hey, where do they want to be 3 years from now? And what are their goals for this 1 year? I mean, we're right around the corner, but where are they? Where would they like to be? What are the goals for 2019? So what I've done is incorporated these types of discussions in my meetings with my clients. So I'll ask strategic questions. How's your team doing? Hey, what are you thinking for as goals for 2019? And to get them to start thinking about this, because they're not. They're so much in their business that they're not thinking about this, and that they should. They should, if they want their business to be better next year than this year, correct? And I feel that's where you come in, is their CPA trusted advisor is incorporating, depending on where the client is in their journey, their mindset, where they're at. You can't talk about, with the client about core values necessarily in that first meeting. You got to kind of find a way to see where they're at, and the types of questions you would ask. But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But knowing that this is the tools, the tools you've got in your toolbox that you can help your clients with, right? And the conversation goes there, you can pull the tool from your toolbox and say, hey, this is what we have done in our business and it's serving us, something for you to consider, right? That's going to be useful to your clients. So don't keep this a secret. The more you will share it, the more you will teach it, the better you will get at it. Dr. Stephen Covey, when I was reading his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People back in the 90s then, when I read it, it's like, read the book, learn the concepts, start teaching it, start sharing it. The more I did that, the better the concepts became for me. So do that. And you can share this either with your clients, you can share it through marketing. Write an article on it. Yeah, write an article about team meetings or core values or leadership or how to build a championship team. Give a talk at your networking group and so forth, right? Just do more of it. The more you'll do it, the better you'll get at it. It'll kind of start, benefiting you in so many different ways. So I encourage you guys to learn this enough to be able to share it and to implement it in your business. All right, moving on. All right, we've got about 10 more minutes or so of material to go. So just hang in there, everyone. So next, what I want to talk about is hiring, smart hiring, picking the best, the high performers that help you reach your firm's goals, right? So when you place an ad for a job, you may get lots of people that will apply to it, and you want to pick the very best, right? Steve Jobs, the secret of my success is that we've gone to exceptional lengths to hire the best people in the world. Makes a huge difference. A few years back, I was invited to a neighborhood party in my area, where I live. So I'm having, connecting with this neighbor who had recently moved in my area 6 months or so back, and so I'm getting to know him. And he owns a company in New York City. He's like, yeah, I just got a valuation done. It's a billion, we got $1 billion valuation. So I've hit the whatever digit mark, 9-digit mark, a billion, like with a B. So I says, wow, really? That's great, man. Of course, I've got to ask this question, what's your secret to success? And without flinching, I said, man, I have got the smartest people. I've surrounded myself with the smartest people they are. And, this guy was nothing extraordinary. He wasn't extraordinary himself, but he just, and neither am I, and it's just a matter of finding, becoming good at hiring the best people. And that's an important aspect of being, in succeeding in business. is finding good people and then letting them do their job. And then your job is to create the culture, right? Where they want to do well, but hiring the smart, the best people is really, you know, critical. And hiring, it is the finding the needle in the haystack, right? Because it is not easy. You get so many resumes, like which one's the best one, right? So, first thing is you want to, so these are all the steps where, when it comes to hiring the people, is defining the role and advertising the role, shortlisting the candidates before before anything else, and then calling them up and further shortlisting the list, and then having a face-to-face interviews with just a handful of people, and then picking one. So defining the role, right? Creating the role, and this is going to be stuff that either, if you're the one doing it, you're going to, doing it meaning somebody who's going to take off some of the things off your plate, right? You're going to write out what are the things that you shouldn't be doing, right? And you start creating a job description from that. So if you're doing some of the more lower level accounting work or tax work, you can start creating a job description there. If you're finding yourself doing some of the admin stuff that that clearly you should not be doing, then you create a job description that's admin / marketing assistant, right? Don't turn your admin person into a bookkeeper. Big mistake people make, right? Is turn your admin person into a marketing advocate. Turn them into a marketing assistant, into a client attraction machine, into a client getting machine, right? Don't turn them into a bookkeeper. So that's an important aspect that, when you're looking at an admin, do that, and then not getting them into becoming an accountant. And then the questions to ask during the interview are, what type of questions you want to ask. You want to ask questions that will give you visibility on skill, attitude, and passion, right? So those are the three areas that you're asking questions on. Do they have the right skills? Are they skillful? Do they have the technical abilities? Second is their attitude. What kind of an attitude do they have? So while you're asking questions about the technical skills and abilities, you're finding out what their attitude is. What do they think of life and the world? And are they the doom and gloom, or are they positive and optimistic and hopeful, and they've got, those types of attributes in them? Are they a can do or a cannot do, or I got to think about this for months and days and weeks? Or are they like, let me roll up my sleeves, I'm ready to dive into it, I've given it maybe we've made the decision, let's now make it happen, right? So what's their attitude? And then what are they passionate about? There's some people that are more technical, there's some people that are, detail oriented, and that some people are more big picture, or they like marketing more than they do other things. So find out what their passions are. So ask questions. You can have one person with amazing skills and the right attitude, but they're not passionate about working in a marketing capacity, or working in an admin capacity, or working in an accounting capacity. They've got the right, tools in their toolbox, but they don't have any passion for it. Let's not put them in that situation, right? So you want to evaluate that, right? And the thought that comes to my mind is, I was at an event, a mastermind group that I belong to. So I was there a few weeks back, and that was in Los Angeles. So I was in Los Angeles a few weeks back, and now I'm flying to San Diego today. So I'm in California quite a bit this month. So one of the things, the exercises that we went through is, what are the things you're doing when you're in your genius zone? Like, what are the kinds of work, the kinds of things that you as an individual, me as an individual do, that get me in my genius zone. And I want you to think about that, right? Because you're not good at everything. You're good at some things, and some things that really inspire you and make you passionate. And those are usually probably the things that you do well. But there are things that you suck at, like I do, which is a lot of things. And I let somebody else do that, right? I do stuff that's in my genius zone. So the more aware we can become of what are the things that get me in my genius zone, we do more of, and that's living life at its best. It's living life meaningfully and being fulfilled and serving others at that highest level. And so for me, one of my genius zones is interacting with practitioners in a group setting like this, right? This is kind of one of my genius zones, is imparting my knowledge and helping others avoid the mistakes I've made and helping them become better at helping them reach their goals. And so I find myself wanting to do more and more of that, even more so than I have, right? Because that's my genius zone. Get me to do a tax return? Oh my goodness, you're gonna kill me. Or do a financial statement or something more for, my time horizon or tolerance is like 2 minutes and about it. But you'd kill me, right? I'm not in my genius zone, right? So that's becoming clear. How are we at our genius? When do we become passionate? So kind of keep that in mind for yourself as you're developing your businesses. Where are you in your genius zone? And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like become, do that, right? Do stuff. Life is short. Life is unpredictable. Life is uncertain. And whatever time we have, we live it at its best. All right. So I've got all this in the training guide as well. So you can kind of, I won't go through the questions. I kind of covered it as well. I gave you the three areas: skills, attitude, and then passion, right? So there's questions right in the training guide, right on this PowerPoint, in this recording, that you'll have access to assess if somebody fits those three areas. Good. Questions? Things I can help you with before we wrap up. Talked about winning culture, talked about team meetings and creating a firm culture that's a winner, and then smart hiring. Things I can help you with. Questions. What are you thinking? What's resonated the most with you? What's been your biggest takeaway? Let's finish off with that. We'll do more Q&A next week. Biggest takeaways from our time today. Take a few seconds, folks, and type that in. Your biggest takeaway from today. What are you thinking? What's resonated with you? What's got you thinking? Few more seconds. Your biggest takeaways, folks. From today. Core values, smart hiring. way you allocate your time, leadership, covered like quite a bit of ground. People analyzer, meeting with your team, creating that communication platform, imparting this knowledge with your clients in different ways. Different ways you can do that, and we're gonna really dive into it in a big way when we talk about client attraction. Boy, comments are slow to come. You guys are really having to think about this. Maybe you're overthinking it. Don't think too much. Few more seconds. So Mel, I'll start with you. The difference you said a great hire will make. Yeah, pretty substantial. And so if something's going to make that much of a difference, then you want to make sure that you're doing what you can in finding that person, in evaluating that person, and making sure that they're the best. Hey, what about the rest of you? You're very quiet. What about the rest of you? What resonated with you? What's next step for you? Ron, Wasim, you've been quiet today. Chakra, what about you? Cool. So Chakra saying the core values resonated with me. I'm going to create one this week. Beautiful. Ron says I don't have a team, and so Ron, as I said, right? Many folks don't have a team yet. They're themselves. They are the firm, and so nevertheless, create your core values, right? Create your core values, and make the determination of who's going to be your next hire, and so forth, right? So start kind of, preparing and working towards that. Wasim saying, biggest takeaway for me is definitely time management. When it comes to hiring, answering the right questions before offering to bring on board new staff. Time management, yeah. When it comes to hiring, asking the right questions. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. All right, folks, let's finish off here. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. And I'll see you next week when we'll do a Q&A call. So get right into doing it, working it. I want you guys to create your version 0.5 or your version 1.0, so that when we have the group Q&A call, we can be, you've got your questions, things you ran into, obstacles you faced in doing it that you like, man, I'd like some help here. I'd like it, I would like you to be a sounding board on this. So please do that. Make sure that you come to this with anything we've talked about this past week or anything we've covered so far, in where we are at. So use the time to do that. All right. With that said, let's say adios, goodbye, and see you soon. Sure thing, guys. Take care.